On April 8th, Colossal announced that it had used cloning and gene editing, based on 2 ancient samples of direwolf DNA, to bring 3 pups into the world, the 6-month-old males Romulus and Remus, and the 2-month-old female Khaleesi. Our team took DNA from a 13,000 years old tooth and a 72,000 years old skull and created healthy direwolf puppies, said Colossal CEO Ben Lamb in a statement accompanying the announcement. But before we dive deeper into this claim, let's first explore what is a direwolf. A direwolf is an extinct species of canine that once roamed the Americas during the late Pleistocene and early Holocene epochs, about 125,000 to 10,000 years ago. Named in 1858, 4 years after its first fossil was discovered, the direwolf has long fascinated the scientists and the public alike. 2 subspecies have been proposed, Aenocyon guldari and Aenocyon dirus, but recent studies have questioned this classification. The largest collection of direwolf fossils comes from the Rancho La Brea tar pits in Los Angeles. In terms of size, direwolves were comparable to today's largest gray wolves. Their skull and dental structures resembled those of Canis lupus, but their teeth were larger and adapted for greater shearing ability. In fact, their bite force was stronger than any known species within the Canis genus, which suggests they were specialized predators of late Pleistocene mega-herbivores, including ancient horses, pronghorns, peccaries, ground sloths, bison, and camels. Fossil evidence confirms direwolves lived as recently as 10,000 years ago. A groundbreaking 2021 DNA study found direwolves to be a highly divergent lineage compared to extant wolf-like canines. This supported an earlier taxonomic classification from 1918, which categorized direwolves under the genus Aenocyon rather than Canis. DNA evidence suggests direwolves evolved from an ancestral lineage separate from the Canis genus, meaning they were not directly related to modern wolves. Researchers sequenced nuclear DNA from 5 direwolf fossils dated between 13,000 and 50,000 years old, confirming their genetic divergence. Interestingly, skeletal similarities between direwolves and grey wolves had previously led scientists to believe they shared an evolutionary connection. However, the 2021 study concluded that their resemblance resulted from convergent evolution, not close genetic ties. Unlike wolf-like canines, which commonly hybridize with one another, direwolves showed no genetic admixture with North American grey wolves, coyotes, or their common ancestors. So, what Colossal has produced is a grey wolf with some direwolf-like characteristics, such as a larger skull and white fur, explained Dr. Rowlands. It's a hybrid. Dr. Beth Safiro, a biologist from Colossal Biosciences, described their achievement as a form of de-extinction recreating animals with similar traits. A grey wolf is the closest living relative of a dire wolf. They are genetically similar, so we targeted DNA sequences that produced dire wolf traits and edited grey wolf cells, she explained. Then we cloned those cells and created our dire wolves. However, Dr. Rowlands countered that dire wolves diverged from grey wolves somewhere between 2.5 to 6 million years ago. It's in a completely different genus, he argued. Colossal compared the genomes of dire wolves and grey wolves, and out of roughly 19,000 genes, They determined that modifying 20 changes in 14 genes resulted in a dire wolf. The embryos were implanted into surrogate domestic dogs, and according to Time magazine, all 3 pups were delivered via planned caesarean section to minimize risks. Colossal, which was valued at $10 billion in January, is housing these wolves at a private 2,000-acre facility in the northern United States. The pups certainly resemble the popular image of dire wolves, and the story has captured global attention. But why does this scientific distinction matter? Because extinction is still forever, Dr. Rowlands told the BBC News. In my opinion, Colossal needed a high-profile announcement to keep its shareholder engaged. While I don't want to diminish their efforts, what they have presented is not a true dire wolf. It's a hybridized grey wolf. To truly de-extinct an animal, scientists will need to fully recover or reconstruct its original genome, not merely tweak that of a close relative. Unfortunately, we are still far from having the technological capability to achieve full de-extinction. Perhaps one day, new discoveries will bring us closer, but for now, this feels more like a well-marketed claim than a genuine resurrection of an ancient species. This discovery is groundbreaking. It represents the first direct study of the external appearance of an extinct mammal with no modern counterparts.